There's a lot the cloud can offer on top of traditional public sector solutions. Join us in historic downtown Austin, Texas, as we talk to SADA Systems about how the cloud enables building solutions like Atom.
What does Atom do?
So Atom is a lot more robust. So in almost the opposite of how .maps is very niche and kind of has its need and things that it can address, Atom is going to support a lot broader, I guess, use case within the DOT. You've got things like asset management and maintenance management, work order distribution, mobile data collection. These are going to be the core use cases that Atom kind of supports. Some of our main use cases that we'll tackle are like bridge and infrastructure management. So a lot of the states and counties in the United States, they have a budget every year. They need to essentially upkeep the bridges and the roads and the signs and signals in an efficient way. They have an X amount of money that they need to spend, and they want to track that kind of whole dollar amount against the work that they're sending out there. And obviously when you're getting into the management and upkeep of infrastructure, especially at the bridge and highway level, safety is a huge concern here.
Right, so streamlining these workflows so people don't have to jump through a bunch of hoops to do what they need to do on an everyday basis.
Correct. Yeah, it's all about, and again, this is kind of piggybacking on that bringing material design and that ease of use, but we want to make sure we cater to all ends of the spectrum within the DOT. In the DOT, you've got folks that are very day-to-day users that are going to be just querying for very simple things, project details, project managers on a specific project.
So from a technical perspective, what does Atom look like?
Atom essentially is a cloud-based solution, and we're obviously leveraging Google Cloud for that. It allows us to do some things feature and functionality-wise that I don't think has been quite possible within the DOT space up to this point. Things like offline access, full native offline access for our mobile users in the field. Atom has a fully native iOS and Android application, and when you're working with states that are just more rural use cases and assets in more rural areas, you tend to have a problem where they can't access their asset information that they need, forms, directions, all those types of things. And having the ability to cache that data locally on the device and push it to the cloud after they complete what they need to do has been something that we've received a lot of positive feedback on. Again, some of these states have very rural areas where users are going out there in the field and they need to have access to asset information. They need to have access to the important information that they need to do their job out in the field. So I think that's a crucial part in leveraging Google Cloud and really taking that burden of infrastructure management away from the DOT, I think is massive. For them to have to pay to do server manage upkeep and things like that, I think those days are behind them. And I think because of Google Cloud's capabilities and the security requirements that they're getting up to, the DOT has no reason not to go on Google Cloud or a cloud provider at this point.
So for a group that wants to adopt Atom, what does that look like in comparison to their existing workflows?
Yeah, so that's a great point. I think a lot of vendors make a mistake where they want to come in and totally reinvent what cities are doing and states are doing from a workflow perspective. In reality, the states have been ironing out these processes for 20, 30 years. You've got folks within the government that have been there for 20, 30 years. So if you try to come in there and totally change what they're doing, fundamentally, you're going to get pushback. I mean, you're just going to. There's folks within the government that have been there a long time and are used to a certain workflow and a certain process. And I think it's really crucial that you get those adoption rates high quickly to make sure that you have success within the government with your product.
And all of this is possible because of the cloud.
Yeah, 100%. I think that the cloud allows for really high-level collaboration between these groups. Again, once you can get that data to a point where it's all sanitized across these groups, you can really start sharing and doing that cross-asset analysis that I think all states want to get to. It's a process for them, but the cloud is for sure a way that's going to enable them to be successful and to actually start sharing that data across departments.
Well, John, thank you so much for coming in and telling us more about public sector in the cloud.
Yeah, appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode where we dive into the technical side of .maps.